Hello friends. I was going to do a video talking about the new David Copperfield film and comparing it to the book, but I have been so stressed trying to do dissertation stuff, so this is what you're getting instead. It's an A to Z list of women in literature who deserve better. Starting strong on the list, it's Agnes, what's her name? Agnes from David Copperfield. Agnes is best known for basically running her dad's company and then discovering the villain that was trying to take over her dad's company, and then defeating the villain that was trying to take over her dad's company. But she deserves better because at the end of the novel, she marries Charles Darwin's. She marries Charles Darwin. But she deserves better because at the end of the novel, she marries Charles Dickens's self-insert character, David Copperfield. And personally, I can't think of a worse fate. Next on the list, it's B for Bertha Mason. If you don't know, she was trapped in an attic by her husband. And her husband was like, I had to lock her in an attic because she's crazy. She's like a crazy girl, but she's married to me, so like I couldn't just like leave her. So I did the gentlemanly thing and I just shoved her up in the attic and I let this like alcoholic lady guard the door, and I just didn't visit her at all because like, why would I? Like, she's crazy. And I know what you're thinking. How can Mr. Rochester marry Jane Eyre if he has a secret wife locked in the attic? Well, it's simple. Bertha Mason simply just dies in a fire. Next up is C for Carmilla. Not Camilla, Carmilla. She may be a blood-sucking vampire, but she has a fun personality. It's D. D is for Dora from David Copperfield. I know that this is the second character from David Copperfield, but I just feel bad for any woman written by Charles Dickens. For those of you who don't know, Dora was very immature and she called herself David's child wife and she talked like a baby. And then David married her, didn't like that she talked like a baby and didn't like how childlike she acted. Then they did something that was very unchildlike and then she died of a miscarriage just because she was a bit immature. E is for every woman that I had to miss out in this video whose name tragically didn't begin with E. F is for Fantain from Les Mis, the first of a few dead prostitutes on this list. She really deserved better. She just wanted to look after her kids. G is for the girl without hands. The girl without hands appears in the Grimm's fairy tale The Girl Without Hands. This fairy tale starts when the girl's dad is met by a mysterious man who offers a great deal of money to him in exchange for whatever was behind the mill. And her father says, yeah, of course. Nothing significant is behind this mill. Oh no, he was wrong. His daughter was behind the mill. Who could have guessed? The girl without hands, who had hands at that point, comes out from behind the mill. And her and the dad decide that they don't want her to go away with this weirdo. And so the dad's like, hey, I have an idea, I'll chop off your hands and then he won't want you. And so he does that, and then she's no hands. And I just feel like there's better ways to go about that, don't you? H is for Helen Burns from Jane Eyre. I'm sorry, I swear there's more than 2 books on this list. Helen Burns is the only sensible character in the entire book. She knows right from wrong. She knows when someone's being dumb. And if she had lived past the ripe old age of 10, she would have been there to like advise Jane to just sort her life out. I fully believe that if Helen Burns had survived, Bertha Mason would be okay and Rochester would be in some sort of prison. Alright? There was no prison for like wife jail back then though. Like, you could legally put your wife in jail and that was just fine. That was like okay. You know, but Helen Burns would have single-handedly changed that. I is for Azole from Azole and Tristan. She and her boyfriend died. They get buried in graves. Then trees spring up from the graves. And the branches interlink. It's actually kind of sweet. but I just feel like being a tree would suck. J is for Julia from 1984. The narrator literally says at the start that he dislikes women. Then he proceeds to over-sexualize Julia. I'm just saying she could do better. L is for Lucy from Dracula. She literally did nothing wrong. 3 men proposed to her and she couldn't choose between them. And for that she is blamed. And then when she does choose between them, it's too late for her. She becomes a vampire and then her fiancé brutally murders her in like a very grotesque killing. Like okay, she might have tried to eat like one child, but like did she deserve to be like have her head eviscerated? M is for Miriam from Tarzan, Son of Tarzan. She was like Tarzan because she grew up in the jungle as a kid, but unlike Tarzan, she wasn't like orphaned and then raised by cute monkeys. She was kidnapped and then enslaved and then spent like her puberty in the jungle, which is a very different experience. And I just think she needs some therapy. N is for Nancy from Oliver Twist. Oh look, it's another woman with sexual agency who was brutally murdered at the hands of her abuser. Nancy did the absolute most in this book. If it weren't for Nancy, Oliver would be dead in a ditch somewhere. Now if you've only seen the musical or like watched the film, you don't know half of it. Nancy is the OG. Nancy becomes the main character towards the second half of the novel because Charles Dickens realised Oliver was kind of boring and he just became obsessed with Nancy. Which would have been a positive thing because she's a really cool character, but it was a negative thing because in the end he decided to brutally murder her. Anyway, I would have loved it if she was able to escape poverty, escape her abuser, and then just like frolic about Victorian England. Because like, the book's over, what else are you gonna do? Invent the typewriter? It's been done. Oh! O is for Ophelia from Hamlet. She's another woman who did absolutely nothing wrong. She just existed to like do what her father told her because that was what being a woman was like. And it was awful. And her father was like, go spy on Hamlet. So she did. And then Hamlet was really mean to her. And then she died. I'm sorry, Hamlet, I know you're the main character, but there's absolutely no excuse for this level of bullying. P is for Penta of the chopped off hands. Yes, it's a different fairy tale about a woman chopping off her hands. Penta was basically just chilling one day, and then a king came over and proposed, and she said no. So he kept coming over and proposing, because, you know, men. And then she convinced someone to chop off her hands, so the king would stop bugging her. Don't worry though, her hands do grow back, but only after she's thrown in the sea, then rescued, then thrown in the sea again. And then I think she's a kid at some point. Yeah, I just think she deserves a better story. It's kind of a bit crap, isn't it? Q is for the Queen of Hearts. Yes, she's bloodthirsty. Yes, she wants to like murder a 10-year-old girl for no reason. But she's very assertive. She has her own opinions, but she is constantly overlooked by her husband. She just wants to set some boundaries, right? And every 2 seconds her husband is undermining her and saying, hey, that's crap, don't listen to her. And that is not a healthy marriage. A key to a healthy marriage, and I should know because I'm an expert on love, is communication. And they just don't have that. They are incompatible, and I think she deserves a nicer husband who supports her desire for vengeance and murder. R is for Rosaline from Romeo and Juliet. Before Romeo met Juliet, he liked this girl called Rosaline. She rejected him, basically. Then he snuck into a party to see her, and that's when he met Juliet. He met her because he was trying to pursue Rosaline. I'm just saying, like, nothing really bad happens to her, but I do wish she was more respected in society. Romeo and Juliet never would have met if it wasn't for Rosaline. But I guess they wouldn't have died if it wasn't for Rosaline either. S is for the Snow Queen. Alright, so there's an evil mirror that shows you the worst about yourself. And then one day it breaks and it falls into this kid's eye. Like just, not the whole thing, just a shard. falls into his eye, and all he can see is bad things. And then he turns kind of evil, like not evil, but he's just kind of mean to everyone. He ends up with the Snow Queen, and she won't let him go until he spells a word correctly with shards of ice. And you might say that's evil, but personally, I just think that's good educational babysitting. T. T is for Tess Duberfield. Duberfield? That one. My gal literally did nothing wrong. Like, nothing. Never in her life has she made a single mistake. She kills her abuser, and then she's executed. U. U is for the ugly sisters from Cinderella. Are they ugly? Yeah. Are they just a bit desperate? Yeah. Do they deserve to have their faces mauled off by angry pigeons at their stepsister's wedding? Yeah. V is for Rosamond Vincy from Middlemarch. She's in one of the most boring books of all time, and that's why she's on this list. I wouldn't wish my worst enemy was a character in Middlemarch. W. I feel like I'm 12. The Weird Sisters from Macbeth. Literally, all they do is tell the future. It's literally their job. I don't understand how they are villains. They never even lie to Macbeth. Everything they tell him is true. It's his fault he doesn't ask more questions about the oddly specific "no man born of woman can kill you" thing. Why? Y is for why not forget that we've missed the last two letters. And finally, Z for Zoe 101. Okay, this was like completely silly. I do have some hot takes in here, but also some very cold ones. I do hope you enjoyed. There's obviously far more female characters that deserve justice, and I know it's a very Eurocentric list. This is just something I made for fun off the top of my head. And I'm sorry for the lack of diversity. I am, but I just wanted to do something kind of quick and fun and simple. And this is what came to mind. I might do some more research and think of a more diverse, like, overall list. But yeah, I'll see you later. Thank you for watching. I really hope you enjoyed. Feel free to watch some more vague book things if you would like. And if not, I'll see you about. Okay, bye.